Can you tell how organized our lines look now? That's because Mike came last night and taught us the basic knots he has used for the last 26 years.
Okay, I probably said this already. You grab the line, swing it out about an arm's length, half a turn.
But you half a turn, yeah.
half
that
a
was
turn,
important.
half quarter turn.
Turning.
You just turn it. Do it again until you clear up the whole line.
Okay.
That way your loops become out equal. And they don't twist and roll against each other because you've taken the natural twist out of the line. Keep doing that until you're ready to. In this case, I got maybe 1 or 2 more loops. I'll just use that because I got a long line. Oh, stuck on the outboard. Then you just take it, give it, dang it,
Stand up.
1 or 2 turns. Yeah. And then you just take the loop, you loop it, and you push that loop inside that hole. Take the long line, shove it through there, and that holds the line together. Now, I don't care if you put it on a cleat and tie it on a cleat. You want to hide it out of the way, you can put it on the rail, you can put it up here. All you do is take a couple of half hitches, throw it around there, and you can just loop it through, and it's out of your way.
Cool.
You
Perfect.
do that
No
with
bungees.
no bungees. Do that with halyards. Do that with any line. Dock lines, you can loop them up. Anchor lines, you can loop them up. Tie them to your lifelines. It doesn't matter. It's the same routine. The other thing you can do with this, especially with a halyard that comes in handy, is instead of leaving that long tail, you just take that tail out of the equation and you just loop it through and then loop it in on itself like this. Okay? And then wherever that extra line is, you tighten it up. And let's say you got a winch up on your mast. You put it there and you grab that whole assembly and you just shove it up. And it's tight against it and holds it
That's
for
so
you.
cool.
Then you can just loosen it up a little bit, pull it off, take that loop off,
And you're done.
and you're done.
Okay.
And this way, because it's not twisting on itself, you got your loose end, throw it away, it's very loose, won't knot up on you.
Yeah.
It works nice.
Yeah.
So if you're sailing, I mean, I'm not a square rig sailor of the old days that knew 100 knots. 2 or 3 knots is all you really need to know. The number 1 knot for almost any purpose at all is the bowline. You probably understand. You know a bowline, probably.
I think, but
Yeah, but bowline is
I
simple.
don't have. I haven't filmed.
You
so-
take
just for the polar.
You take your line, right?
It's not like it's for me.
So you grab the end of it.
But
And you just
when do you use it?
you
all the
use
time.
it. You use it to attach a dinghy to something. You would use it to attach your jib
Okay.
to the sheets. Okay,
Okay.
that's the main reason for using a bowline.
Okay.
Anytime you want to make a loop and attach something to something, use a bowline.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so like if I wanted to hoist this out of the dinghy and Lorraine is pulling it, I'd do a bowline. Just loop it around like that. Many books, many videos
Okay.
tell you how to do that, right? You bring it around itself, stick it in there, and you pull it.
That's what it looks like.
Then you got a bowline. You want to leave enough where it won't slip out,
Uh-huh.
2 or 3 inches. Then you can lift anything with that. But the nice thing about this knot, which is the reason it's being used, is okay, you've got, let's say I put 1,000 pounds on that. Most knots will tighten up and grab each other. This knot, you simply put your thumb and you roll that section of it out.
It comes
And no
undone
matter
like
how
that.
much of a load you put on it, that will always work. So it will always come apart for you. That's the beauty of
have
that
to-
knot. If I did a half
Yeah.
hitch, which would work just fine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
if I
it will
did
be
that,
so hard.
Yeah.
but it would be so hard you'd never get it off. That's the beauty of the bowline.
Oh wow.
Okay. Then the clove hitch, which is after you loop that line, one of the things you do, if you got a piling, the piling can be vertical, this way, whatever. You just loop it once, loop it twice, and stick that second loop through itself, okay? And you put it like that.
Yeah, the same that you
That's a
did
clove hitch.
before.
Now that is good for attaching your excess line, but it's also good for tying your boat to a piling, but temporarily, because as long as there's tension on it, it will stay. But the minute you lose your tension, it may come off. So if you're pulling up to the water dock and you want to try to tie it to the piling, just wrap it around a couple times, clove hitch once, twice, and you're good for a couple hours, right?
Okay.
But you may not want to leave that for weeks and months.
Okay.
Then all you need to do is do a half hitch on it. And it'll never come off. Okay. But the clove hitch is, as long as you have tension on your line,
It works.
the clove hitch will work. As long as you have tension on that line, that works. Okay. And so temporarily docking or pulling into a slip immediately with pilings and that don't have cleats, that's what you would do that for.
So cool.
Thank
you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
The other knot that
Oh.
you want to do, one more knot, really, that's all I ever use. I know a bunch of other knots, but I only use 3 knots. The clove hitch, the bowline, and the square knot.
Half hitch.
Well, half hitch I don't consider a knot.
Yeah, I know, but we
But
use
it's a
it
real,
a lot.
yes, everybody uses that. Half hitch, what she's talking about is where you just simply loop it through like that, and that's a half hitch.
Usually, if you're using
That's
it,
the
though, you
normal.
use 2 of
The
them.
normal, right?
You
And
do at
you'll
least
put
2
2.
of them.
You only
That's
need
what I tried for the
Yeah.
today, and it's
you only
hard
need to do 2.
untie.
If you do more, it's a waste of time. You're not making any stronger. That's a half hitch. Now this is the most useful of all knots. It has to be done properly. The square knot, which is used to hold things temporarily, like when you're reefing your sail and you need to hold it from heavy winds. You just simply, like you're tying your shoe, you put it like that. But you'll notice that this loops over the top. So whatever you do, that has to stay on top of things. Well, this is kind of hard.
You usually do it with 2 lines.
2 lines. Yeah. Okay. So you just cross it over like you're tying your shoe. And you notice that this is under the line and this is over the line. That has to be continued through the knot. So what you would do is that make sure that loops over both lines, and you make a square knot.
If you do it the wrong way, you have a granny knot.
Yeah, but
And it doesn't come out easy.
That's a very useful knot, and the beauty of all these knots, which is why they're designed this way, is even under load, you simply go
Oh wow,
and they loosen up.
that's so cool.
That's what it is. If you do some other knot, which certainly
Yeah.
would hold, but when it comes to come apart, it's, yeah, you can't
You
take
need
it.
to
Yeah.
put a tool in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the beauty there.
Right, that's what they're. But that's, you know, you don't need to know that to sail a boat. You need like 3 or 4 knots to sail a boat. You need the bowline, the square knot, the clove hitch, and a regular hitch, and you know, other knots are nice and fun to know, but all you need to know is those to sail a boat, and you do everything. The other knot that's nice to know is called the trucker's hitch. And what you do in the trucker's hitch, let's say you want to tie a dinghy to the bow or something, and you don't have a ratcheting strap or anything, and you want to make it nice and tight. If you just loop it through and try to tighten it, it's very hard to get it tight. So you do a trucker's hitch. And trucker's hitch is this. You take it, you do a little loop, and you throw the loop through it, another loop through it like that. Okay? And then it tightens. And then what you do is you take that around whatever you're tying it to, and you tie it like that. And it acts like a block and tackle where you get a little more purchase. And then, I didn't give you enough room, but what you do is you just take it and you do a couple hitches. But what it allows you to do, instead of trying to tighten it, and that's the other thing, it comes loose easy like most properly tied knots. But if I just did this and tried to tighten it, maybe throw that like that,
Yeah.
and do a loop, you know, a half hitch on it or something, I'd only get it so tight. But if I do a trucker's hitch on it,
He can amputate his leg.
I can amputate the leg. I just do a little loop, and then a loop inside itself like that. And what I do, that's almost like a
I don't know what that's.
almost like a block, almost like one of these here. Then you take that, and you can take that and go like that, and you have a little purchase. You got a 2-to-1 purchase,
Yeah.
and then you can take the whole assembly
Oh, okay.
like this, and you can tie your dinghy down very
Yeah,
tight.
don't
Yeah.
break whatever you
Very
start.
easy to adjust later
Over
on if
there.
it loosens up. Okay. So those are just a few knots that are very helpful.
Thank you, Mike.
I like it that way.
Yeah, I like all of them because they're very easy to
Yeah.
untie.
And they're all online. They're all in books. You know, if you don't remember it, you can certainly figure them out.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank
Mike.
you.
Nice.